You see that big oak tree back there? When it comes to discipline, I want you to be just like that oak tree. Let me tell you what I mean. Knowing how to effectively discipline your child is one of the most frustrating things that today's parents encounter. And it's mostly because of these psychological theories that have come out about self-esteem and what you're going to do, the long-term damage, and parents are so afraid to do something they think might damage their children way into their adult life that they're confused and they don't know what to do. So look, I'm going to tell you 7 things that never change. They've never changed when it comes to dealing with your children. They work in every circumstance for every child. Okay, number 1, the first thing you should do when dealing with your children in any situation is always deal with them with respect. You know, your first job as a parent is to teach them. You need to teach them how to be a happy and productive adult. So when you deal with them with respect, they get the message that they're important and you're doing these things, you're instilling these things that you expect from them to help them be one of those happy and productive adults when they get grown. A couple of ways that you show respect is that you don't yell at your kids. You know, that's become a big deal anymore, yelling at your kids. And it's because a lot of parents just don't know what else to do. So they resort to yelling. Yelling is very disrespectful, as you well know, when people yell at you. You know, when you're respectful to your kids, just like if somebody's respectful to you, you're going to get a lot more cooperation from them. And they're going to listen to you more. Also, dealing with your child with respect is also one of the easiest and best ways to build up their self-esteem. Okay, number 2, another great thing to do as far as discipline goes is to get together as a family, everybody in your family, you sit down at the table and you write out your family rules, okay? Your expectations for behavior. And you can include mom and dad in those things too, right? But that's another way you show respect to your children is you let them have input into the rules. What are our expectations? What do you think should be the consequences? And you put all that stuff down. It makes it very clear as to what is expected in your family. Having written rules are a lot more important than we think they are because in any situation, in your job, in any environment you're in, if you don't know what's expected of you, if you don't know the expectations, it makes us all a little bit crazy. So having those rules really provides a structure and a comfort for your children to know what is expected of them. Another great benefit of having written rules is that it kind of lets you off the hook as the bad guy. You know, if they get in trouble because they've broken one of the rules, all you got to do is come over here and look at the rules and say, oh man, it says you got to go to timeout. I hate it when you got to go to timeout. That's crummy. I'll tell you what though, I'll be here for you when you get out. Okay, number 3, be consistent. If your child knows that every single time they mess up, there's going to be a consequence, and they know what that consequence is going to be, then they're much less likely to continue to do that. And soon, it'll become one less problem you have to deal with. Number 4, and here's one that I see all the time. Guys, never make threats you're not going to follow through with. That is a huge no-no because if you don't follow through, then your child learns that they can't take you at your word. You don't really mean what you say. You don't want your child to ever think that. So if you say, you better stop that or I'm going to take you home right now, you better follow through with that. Okay, number 5, never show emotion when administering discipline. Okay, well maybe you don't have to go to that extreme. But, you know, act like the policeman does when he pulls you over for running a stop sign or something. You know, he doesn't pitch a big fit and wag his finger in your face and yell and scream, jump up and down. All he does is smile, write you a ticket, and tells you to have a nice day. He lets the ticket or the discipline teach the lesson. Number 6. Don't argue. It's okay just to smile at them and say, no, I'm sorry, honey, I don't argue. How much good is it going to do you to argue with the policeman? Okay, and last, don't worry about whether your child is going to like you or be your friend or you know, there's so many parents that are so concerned they're going to hurt their child's feelings, so they give in to them. And what you're teaching your child is, by manipulation, I can get what I want. All I have to do is get my parent to feel sorry for me. Okay, the bottom line is, in order to be a healthy, happy, productive adult, we're going to have to learn how to conform to certain rules that society expects of us. It's our job as a parent to instill those rules in our children. From a very young age, we start letting them know what's right and what's wrong, and we do that for their benefit. So, keep this in mind. The goal of all discipline is self-discipline. You're going to do it. You're going to show them what's expected so they can learn how to do it on their own without you there. So that brings us back to this big oak tree. Here's the thing. Think of yourself like this big oak tree, that you're there to provide shade and comfort and cool on a hot day. You're there for safety purposes also, but you're still strong and steadfast. And you can beat your head up against that oak tree all day long and it's not moving. Guys, that's comforting for your children to know that. Now get out there and love those babies up.